Hey guys, this is Garrett McLaughlin, and today I want to walk you through 3 very simple single leg exercises to help reinforce good alignment and positioning of the leg. So what we commonly see, especially with running, is it's a series of hops or bounds from one leg to another. So making sure we have good vertical alignment, ankle, knee, and hip is important to keep that leg in a good position to help prevent knee pain, but also create optimal movement. So these 3 exercises are very simple. They're always focusing on the same thing and making sure we have this straight line. At some points, you'll notice as you try them yourselves, you'll see that knee wanting to collapse in. So making sure you're really driving that knee out, aligned with that second toe is important. So create good stability and control in the hip joint. The first exercise is called lateral toe taps. Again, one of my favorite starting points. Using a band or ankle loop, all you're gonna do is put that right around the knee. So both knees. So with that has a tendency to want to pull the knees inward in this valgus position. So we want to try to control, keep those legs aligned to make sure we're not losing stability through the hip. So lateral toe taps performed on one leg. From here, we're going to sit butt back, always reinforcing because we want good single leg stability and alignment. So I'm going to drive that knee out. Band provides a good environment for that because we have that stimulus coming in. We can drive against the band to keep a good position. And then from here, this other leg is going to come out back into the side because that position right there is trying to, as I stretch the band, trying to pull the knee inward here and cause me to lose my position. So I have to really use those muscles at the hip, maintain a nice solid foot position, come to the side, driving through the hip, and then come back. So that small stimulus right there alone, feel a lot from the hip, which has helped stabilizing this thigh to keep that knee in a good position, as opposed to letting that knee pull inward where I lose the stability at the hip. The next exercise, now you worked on reinforcing and driving that knee out and finding that proper alignment. It's what's called step downs. So step downs, I like to build up the floor just a little bit or go from plates to the floor, making sure we're not going this huge distance from the bench to the ground, because in that position, the knee will really collapse in. So starting with a shorter range of motion and then progressing is important with this one. So it's one of those exercises you kind of have to put your ego aside for the time being, get the mechanics and the positioning, and then progress to the higher length. So with step downs, I'm going to start up here. So leg is always aligned, right? Ankle, knee, and hip vertical. And then from here, I'm going to just slowly lower butt back, slowly lower down my foot to the plate, and then come back up. But if you look at this top leg, a tendency, especially if those weights are too low, is when you get down there, that knee is going to want to trail in this position. That's pretty common to see for a lot of people, and the hips will tend to drop. So making sure you're driving that knee out will not only make sure the leg is in good alignment, but the pelvis straight across is level. And at all times as you come down, you don't want to reach this leg because you can see what happens there. This right hip will tend to drop. Making sure your hips are staying up and level, and then sitting back in and controlling as you go down. So very simple exercise, not much to it, but starting with a low height and then progressing as you start to really reinforce that position to be able to maintain the knee in line with the ankle and the hip. So the last exercise in this series for single leg stability and alignment is the slow eccentric step up. So you can see under this bench I have one plate. Typically the benches are a little bit too high to do this one and really control. So what I like to do is build up the floor just a little bit to make sure when you lower down, you can slowly lower all the way to the plate without that small little gap where your body tends to fall and your knee will collapse in. So with that step up, just to see from the front view, always looking at alignment. This side, left side, ankle, knee, and hip, always vertical. I like to go running motion here. So easy, you can come up here, drive up and stand. And then nice and slow. This is where I want you to focus on controlling the lowering down portion of that, because we're trying to maintain stability at the hip and the foot to make sure that knee is staying in a good position aligned with those. Or you can make this a little more challenging, driving up, knee up, more balance and stability, locking out the leg, feeling the glute and the quad, contract at the same time, and then slowly lean forward and lower back down. So doing that on both sides just to see if there's any differences. Again, knee, I'm trying to make sure that knee is staying out. So everything I worked on in the lateral toe taps and the step downs, trying to reinforce those positions, because now hopefully at this point I can do this a lot easier than to jumping to this as the first exercise. So really respecting the progression and being able to control the position of the knee, good stability at the ankle, the arch, and the hip will promote that environment where that knee is aligned. So that's it, guys. Those are 3 exercises to help really work on improving the position of the knee, because running always done on a single leg to make sure we're not losing the position. We're really reinforcing good mechanics. That's going to create more efficient movement and a healthier, again, less stress environment for the knee joint.